So what is this? 39. Little different one today because shooting on a what's today? Today's Thursday. Yes, today's Thursday. Just because Grandma's coming back. How do you sit in this? Whoa, this is your normal chair?
That's what I sit in when you.
Holy.
That's what you gave me.
Yeah,
I don't think it rocks when I sit in it.
Yeah, this one's a little. Wow, that is.
Did you want to swap?
It's fine. I'll make do.
Sorry.
So this one's a little different because we're shooting on Thursday. I am very ill prepared because I don't want to say emergency podcast, but something came up where we can't do it this weekend. But first thing, I want to apologize for the audio in the last one. Grandma absolutely Mike Tyson the microphone last time, like multiple times.
And apparently I got in trouble for not being on mic.
Yeah, the first comment. I even said
Chris
before.
Did say,
what did I say beforehand?
He said, you should be on mic, Mom. And I said, I don't want to take attention away from Grandma. I'll just sit in the background.
Not what you said.
Yes, I did. I'll sit in the background.
I didn't do my makeup, so I don't want to.
Well, that too. That's true too.
So
that's true.
This one's a little. We don't have too many articles that were like set in stone, so
yeah. It's nice to mix it up sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be ready for the inevitable. Like, fuck it, we're doing it live.
That's right. We're live.
We're doing it live, or whatever
Denver.
Bill O'Reilly said.
Yeah.
All right, you want to start? Do you have any?
Yes. My first article is from the BBC. In Singapore, they just did the first surgery for cataracts on penguins, which I thought was kind of neat.
Little penguins or the big penguins?
Well, these are the bigger ones. The 3 king penguins and 3 Humboldt penguins. They were a team of 5 vets who did the surgery. They had these lenses made in Germany. 2 months prior, they had to be customized for each bird. And I think because they did it on these particular breeds, it's because they have bigger eyes than others, so they were able to.
Interesting.
It's a little bit easier to work with. 3 months later, the birds can see better and they're more active. It took 3 months. It was a little bit hard because they couldn't get them wet. Okay, so they're penguins. Right. So it took 3 months, but they
just hit them with the hose. Well,
I don't know what they did.
Bottle?
Apparently, penguins have like a third eyelid, which helps for the healing. But they can get wet, so they kept them out of the water for 3 months. They've noticed a difference in how active they are. They're able to get around. I'm guessing they're not walking into things anymore. They also performed this on sea lions and orangutans. Why are they doing it? I think it's more they just want to see if by doing it, it makes a difference in the species and how they function. If you're able to clear up the cataracts as they get older.
So it's not. So they're just doing it because they want to help the animals, or are they testing it for?
There was there's nothing new about it. It just seems like, well, vets were involved in it, so obviously that's their area.
Okay, gotcha.
They wanted to see if that would benefit the species by doing it, and obviously by clearing up these cataracts, which are, it's a cloudiness on the film of your
side
eyes.
Note, I like how I'm leaned back right now. My feet aren't touching the ground. I feel like a little kid again.
You mock the chair. Now you like the chair.
I like the chair.
So anyhow, I thought that was neat that they were trying to do it and that it made a difference for the animals. So I think they want to try and expand it to see if they could do, to other animals.
My friend, one of my friends at the Y had his back fused.
Okay.
Right? He had a full fusion of his lower back. Right. He just started lifting again today. He had the surgery back in December, and now he's been running and stuff. Like he's been able to do bikes.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, this is a little off topic, but it came to when you said degradation of the eye, or like the degradation of it falling apart. I didn't realize how osteoporosis works, in the sense of there's like a certain bone density that they measure, and if you're within a certain percentage or like decimal, it starts going. So it's not a matter of, everyone gets a level of osteoporosis. It's just once you pass that threshold, then you actually have the degradation.
Yeah.
He said that before his surgery, so normal bone density for someone like in their 70s, and he's in his 50s, is like negative 2.5. He said that before negative 2.5. So in other words, he already started having the decay, which by 70, that's when it starts going down. So he's almost 60, so he's not in his 50s, but he's almost 60. He said before the surgery, his back was negative 3. So
wow.
Yeah, so now he's lifting because they want him to build the you can
muscles
build your
around it,
muscles around it, but it also builds your bone structure just by exercising.
Okay.
So it strengthens the bones. I said lots of milk, but he says he has to take a shot, like a testosterone shot almost, like that size, in his inner thigh every day for a year. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Well, but you know what? If it builds up your back, if it helps his
It's
bones.
not exactly that it builds it up. It's that it stops the decay.
Oh, so
when
you're
he
just
gets
holding
to
off.
the fear is when he gets to 70, it's going to be brutal on his back. So that's why we strengthen it up now.
Well, a little side story. So osteoporosis runs in my family. And what happens when you see the bones, they become like sponges. They get holes.
Yeah.
That's where the density goes away. Years ago, Grandma was taking, my mother, whom you all met last week, she started taking a, I forget what it was called, a pill. It was a once-a-month pill, right? And after a while, all's good, fine, blah, blah, blah. But her throat was killing her. She was having problems with her throat. We couldn't understand it. And lo and behold, one of the commercials for the pill she was taking said, contact your doctor if you have trouble swallowing. Sure enough, they took her off of it. Weirdest thing is because it's it's a once a month you take this pill for bone density. So she stopped doing it, and she had her problems and whatnot. Caffeine's not great. My family's big into drinking caffeine.
Yeah,
she doesn't lift weights. She doesn't do all the stuff you're supposed to do.
How many cups of coffee do you drink a day? 2?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, define cup, because if you're talking 8 ounces, I do 4 cups a day.
Yeah. Okay.
Because those mugs we have, those are bigger than 8.
Yeah.
It might be 12 ounces. So I have a couple of those a day. And sometimes I'll have one. No, so probably 3, I would say. So what would that be? 32? 32 ounces of coffee a day?
32
yeah,
ounces of
maybe
coffee?
20.
Maybe that's
ounces,
right. I've got to be close. So I only fill mine twice. So I fill mine morning, which I did today, and the one after dinner. So you think that's
But you have that enormous mug, too, that you use. That's at night.
The way God intended.
So that, yeah. Well, but different than my mother, I do mild exercise with weights and stuff, right? And I think...
Does Grandma drink a lot of coffee? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I have to sneak... I hope she's not watching. I have to sneak decaf when I'm up there at night because she will stay up too late. She stays up too late as it is, but I keep telling her just have decaf. And plus, when you're and she's a nervous person. You didn't notice that in the podcast, but she can be very nervous. She gets very stressed.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to talk during the week about how my grandmother after we shot it, all basically edited. She goes, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, she changed her mind.
I was like,
Never
wait,
mind.
no.
I'm too boring. I don't want people to know my life story.
Luckily, we talked her out of it. It's received very well. You were the problem with the...
I was the problem. I'll tell her. I deflected, Mom. Nobody even cared what you said. They were all concerned that I was wrong.
We edited some parts out, but no, you guys didn't miss much. We probably a total of like 5 minutes edited out.
Yeah, I know.
So
Whatever
Mom doesn't
worked.
watch the final pass. So
no, whatever worked. I lived with her for 53. How old am I? 58 years, please.
I was about to say something.
57 and a half years. I've lived the life. I know what she's...
I forget what I was about to say, but...
so anyway, the osteoporosis, it's in our family. I'll forewarn you now, but it tends to be more prevalent in women than in men.
Get wrecked, loser!
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Again, fortunately, we're all exercising, so I think our muscle, or at least our bone structure, is going to be pretty good. Plus, we eat pretty well. I don't know what I was going to say. I think I said this on stream, but for me, I noticed so the second cup of coffee in the day is literally just to get me through stream, because I remember when I wasn't doing that, I was like falling asleep by 10.
Yeah.
Like in the last hour of stream, like everyone's tuning out because they're bored, and I'm just so like, oh, thanks. So, but my problem is if I don't have a big enough dinner, right? The caffeine hits me hard, and then all of a sudden, like all the caffeine's not getting absorbed by food, so it goes straight to my brain, and then I'm up till like 4. And I don't mean like falling asleep at 4. I mean like my brain is still going at 4.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Well, a lot of older people can't have, like, I can't have coffee too late, or I'm still up very late at night and my brain's going. Like similar to what
when
you're
do you
saying.
have your last cup of coffee, though?
I try and have it at 7 when Dad takes the dog.
Even for me, I do it at 6, and I'm still up till 4.
Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
But I'm up earlier than you in the
But again,
morning.
it's completely
right?
it's completely
Different
dependent on
cycle than I
how
have.
much I eat. Like I've come to realize that it's based on that.
Well, maybe, but
yeah.
you tell yourself.
But
that.
or it's maybe I need like the bread or something. Like I have bread to absorb it, right?
Yeah, maybe. I
Something.
don't know. I think it's all timing. When you more timing than anything,
But
caffeine.
for me, I'm always doing it at 6. Like some days I'll go to bed at 2. Whereas
Well, you also have to see. I've noticed you've had soda at dinner too now. Every now and
you
then
keep
you've
saying
had.
that. I've only had it once.
But
since
is that the day that you were up late? If you had coffee too after and a caffeine at dinner,
That's a fair point.
you
That
might
is a
want to
fair
check
point.
and see if that's.
But last night I didn't have soda.
Did you? I don't remember.
No, I had water, which I normally do. Again, I think I've only had soda like twice in the last 3 months.
But you had
I don't know
you
why.
had the coffee and that kept you up. You had late.
Yeah. So yesterday with water, right? I was still up till about 4, and we had what did we eat for dinner? Chicken
pasta,
parm.
right? Oh, you had chicken parm. You had pasta.
Only 3.
Only 3. Did you hear that, everybody? Only 3.
I'm a growing boy.
Chicken parm cutlets.
Mommy, I'm a growing boy.
No.
But that's what I got to figure that out. Like that, I'm like, why am I wired at this time? And the day before that, I wasn't at the same time.
I don't think your eating schedule is good.
I eat the same time every day.
No. You don't have a breakfast. You have a huge lunch. You have a big dinner, and then you're up late, and then you nosh late at night.
I only have my cheese at night.
Well, whatever, but I think that's a bad routine for your body. No. I'm your mother. I'm your mother.
Okay. Have you been paying attention to the Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes.
Okay. How much of a shit show is that? Okay. For those of you that don't know this one, I know Moist Critical talked about it last night or the other day. I don't remember. But he brought up a good point. It's almost like this is like the first court case for all these lawyers.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the
Googling something? The guy said you just had to Google it, and you could have gotten the video of what the guy posted on his social media.
My favorite was when they brought Gwyneth up. So, just for everyone that doesn't know the story, it was like 7 years ago this happened, where apparently she was on a skiing slope with her kids.
Gwyneth Paltrow, who plays the girlfriend of Iron Man.
Yes,
if people don't know it. Penny.
Yeah.
Is it Penny?
Yeah,
Penny.
Okay. I think you're right. Apparently, allegedly, she hit this guy in the back going downhill, like wasn't paying attention, hit this guy in the back who was a doctor, and essentially over the years he's saying all these injuries I have are because of this incident. So he's suing her for like a crazy amount of money.
$3 million.
Yeah, she's suing him for $1. Right then and there, you're like, okay. And then the trial has been such a nightmare in the sense that it's almost like they're fangirling over Gwyneth. So there's a whole part of the trial where the doctor, the defendant, right? Gwyneth. Yes.
There's the claimant. She's defending herself.
She's
claiming it.
So what do you call the other guy? The opposition?
The defendant and the
plaintiff? No.
Plaintiff, yes.
Okay,
yes.
It is plaintiff.
Plaintiff and the defendant.
So the plaintiff is saying that the plaintiff's lawyer has Gwyneth up there, and she's asking. Her question is, "Do I have a relationship with Taylor Swift?" It had nothing to do, and everyone's calling for like no point into this argument. The guy, she's still going. Yeah. She's like, "Is it true that you gave gifts to each other on Christmas?" It's like, what does this have anything to do? God. And you can see Gwyneth is like the only kind of, which is wild to say, she's like the only sane person in there.
That's scary.
In the sense of she's just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Right? The doctor, my favorite one is the plaintiff. So the doctor's up there on the stand. His lawyer's asking him questions. She says, Gwyneth said that she was hit by a big man. Right? And she pulls the guy down, and they're like the same height. And she goes, would you say this is a big man? And the guy's like, thanks.
Yeah, and then I also said she tried to make it sound like she was being sexually assaulted by the guy when they fell, because he was making all these disturbing noises, and they were doing details about how they were intertwined and whatnot.
And that's why you would sue for $1. So let's.
Well, no, the reason why she does that is because she's saying it's not for the money; it's for the principle of it, right? You don't sue for money. Guy has no money. Right. She has money. That's why he's suing for $3 million.
So I just find it so. It's a wild trial to watch. I think it literally just ended today.
And then there was something about a couple days ago, because I have been following it, where I've just been catching headlines of it, but something to the extent that I guess her lawyers, they're mocking them because they couldn't find the social media that the friend of the doctor, who was one of his main witnesses, he posted that they knew who she was, or that they knew she was going to be there, and blah, blah, blah. And they had claimed that they had no idea who she was, something to that extent. But the point was, it took 2 minutes to find this. Why couldn't you guys find this on social media? I just Googled it, whoever this other witness was. I just Googled it, and the whole thing is right on there on the guy's social media page. Maybe they took it down, but it was somewhere else. So anyhow, I saw that, and I'm like, oh boy, this is like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous both ways.
I couldn't tell you who the winner is, but let me tell you, I like it. I like watching it. This is way better than the Johnny Depp trial.
Right. But she's still spending money on attorneys.
Yeah, it's still financially.
Yeah,
I'm sure she has a crazy amount of money.
She does.
But financially she's going to be fine. And to your point, it is about the principal. But I don't know. I don't think the guys. This is a tough one for that doctor because you can say, hey, I have all these injuries. One, it's 7 years later, so it's kind of hard to prove. Two, as you said with the social media, the evidence is kind of stacked against him, and he's making some weird remarks. He's like, "Oh, one of the things he said, which, oh my god, it brought so much." The court went wild. Let's put it that way. He goes, "Yeah, we can't just let these women get away with it. This is how we get islands that, like Epstein's Islands and stuff like that." And everyone's just like, "Hearsay." That was hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, weird doctors, man. So, yeah, it's a wild. I've been tuning in. I'm like this with popcorn.
Yeah.
Fucking. So.
I haven't been following it that closely. I started to watch at the beginning, and then I thought, ugh, this is going to drag on for a little bit, and there's just too much going on in my life right now that Gwyneth Paltrow's woes are really not my woes.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's
her Goop company alone. I got to question the value of the stuff that she put out there and the cost of it, or what she charges for some of this crap. And she's making money, I'm sure.
I think she wants to be the funny celebrity with that kind of stuff and make a profit, but. It's a weird lane because you're not a comedian. You know?
She's a little weird. I'm sorry. I mean, a lot of actors and actresses are.
When you're making a candle that's supposed to smell like certain things, you go.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, just put it in perspective. Her mother's an actress, famous actress. Her father, who's dead, I think he was a producer. So she grew up in the entertainment industry. She used to talk about the Schwarzeneggers being her neighbors and watching Arnold jog in the morning when she was a kid, which
really?
we thought was a little surreal. But yeah, I've heard that story. So, you know, she's from that artsy kind of crazy world. So
yeah,
puts it in perspective as to what you're dealing with on that end. And hey, the doctor might have had a good shot. That she's going to say or do something stupid, which maybe went sway in his way.
She seems like the sane one in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. She keeps her mouth shut and does what she's supposed to do. But like
you can tell she doesn't even want to be there. Like that's the best part. When she shows up, she's like, "Man, this sucks."
Who would want to be?
Just getting questioned about, "Hey, do you know Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Can you get me an autograph?"
I'm generalizing, and I don't know Gwyneth Paltrow, but some of these actors and actresses are arrogant. They think they can do whatever they want to. And they have so much money, and they walk away, or they'll sign an autograph, and that gets them out of a lot of stuff that you and I would have to be. We would have been kicked off the ski slope because apparently you guys told me what she did is not allowed to just turn around. She was watching her kids or something.
Right, but that's his side of the story. Her side of the story is that he plowed into her, standing still, not looking up at her kids. Right, so
he plowed into her.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, her
argument. He says vice versa. So someone's lying.
Right.
Straight up. Right. So I don't know. That's gotta be. Truth be told, I'm kind of on Gwyneth's side on this one.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it because I haven't been following it. But like I said, sometimes being a celebrity works against you because a lot of jury people either they're enamored with them or if they're too arrogant, they side with the average Joe because they figure the celebrity must be lying.
Yeah, something like that. But all right, you got one?
My next one was we didn't want to do that one. Well, this is a follow-up. The Metaverse is it continues to tank. That's like our theme every week.
I saw Google just cut them too. I'm sorry, Disney.
Microsoft? Disney. Well,
Disney was like, yo, we don't really need this.
Yeah, Disney has shut down their division. They were planning to use Metaverse in their strategies in the future, which I thought was kind of interesting to do avatar type stuff, which is what Disney's all about. Like a virtual world, but they just don't see the money in it, and they're cutting a staff, right? Thousands of people they just let go. Microsoft, they're shutting down their social virtual reality platform. Something they acquired in 2017.
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know either.
Have the name of it?
It did have a name in the article.
Microsoft?
Microsoft bought something recently shut down a social virtual reality platform acquired in 2017. I don't know if it's considered meta platforms, which is just basically meta, but they didn't put a name down for it in the article. So there's no value in it. So this I never heard of. Decentraland. Decentraland is also down. That's a real estate metaverse. So you buy real estate and you hang out in there as an avatar.
Right. That's kind of what the metaverse was kind of about. Remember when Snoop Dogg was buying crazy amounts of digital land?
Ah, okay.
I just realized I'm kind of stuck here with this chair. This is some bullshit.
We should have swapped.
I wanted to just make sure that. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure that we were still recording because I don't remember if I hit the button. But
do you understand why I'm always knocking the microphone in that chair? You're always mad at me for knocking the mic because it's a crazy chair. It's got a mind of its own. So anyhow, Decentraland is down. Hangout for avatars. It's created 90% a decline in 1 year. Some tech persons, they're focusing less on the introverted world, which I found interesting. Tech investors, they're saying we're looking for more platforms that take people out of the digital world, which I thought was interesting. But of course, they're more into the AI stuff. They're also seeing AI as the forefront. That's what they want to focus on, which is ironic because I just saw Elon Musk asking for a 6-month moratorium on AI progression because it's getting out of control. He's asking other tech people to hold off. But Meta, they're not giving up on Meta completely. They're looking at that as more of a long-term strategy.
They're going to reallocate their strategy right now, and then later on they're going to work back on the metaverse. What's a good analogy?
A lot of it is expensive hardware. It's not realistic for every person to have the headsets and whatnot. And they cannot get the cost down for that.
Yeah, but even from a software standpoint, it was too advanced for what we were ready for. And what I mean by that is, who wants to buy digital land when it's really not worth anything? I don't understand
that. Yeah. What digital land?
Snoop Dogg bought like $100,000 of digital land.
I don't get it. What are you buying that can't be recreated by anybody?
Right, it's like digital. Who adds more? Someone's just gonna make another one that would add more land. It's just it's like crypto, but now it's virtually tangible. So I can make my own house in the meta. It makes sense, but it's like why? It's like how much time in the VR world are you gonna spend?
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. That's stupid.
Well, I just don't understand. If I put a headset on, I'm in the metaverse.
Think of it as real estate. So like.
No, I know. I get what real estate is, but this is a virtual world. Can't I just go anywhere and own that land virtually? All of a sudden, now they're carving out the land?
Now they carve it out. Yeah, it's literally carved out for you. You do what you want with it, so you can build however you want and then sell it.
I'm sorry, that's strange.
It is weird, right?
It's very
Unless
strange.
We get to the point where, like, you can physically go in there and, like, well, I shouldn't say physically, but, like, virtual reality-wise get in there. There's no point.
What's the value to put human beings in a 5x5 box and put a headset on them and pretend you're in a land?
Well, I guess the incentive is this world sucks.
Exactly.
So let's move to
There's nothing good about that.
There's nothing good. Yeah.
There's really no where we go.
But you can make the argument that maybe that's what we're already in.
Fine, then I don't need another one. I'm not paying.
I thought I had you there.
And then what? We'll make a virtual world where you go into a virtual world while you're in a virtual world.
Yeah. How many levels? Once that one gets screwed, we put on a new headset.
Yeah, I know. So. Come on. Put on your headset in your virtual world to go to another one.
I can actually talk about this because we just invested in a new company, the Hollow thing. So it's Howie Mandel's company. Oh. It's really cool what it is. I've heard him talk about it, but basically it's like the ultimate. It's like a giant TV that's super realistic, so that you can see. Let me curious. Let me see. I could definitely.
What am I seeing on this giant TV?
It's him. So it's him. Like you can do it virtually. They just did a full Justin Bieber concert there.
What do I need a giant Howie Mandel?
Well, no, it's anyone. So like Justin Bieber just did a whole concert apparently.
Bieber's back? I thought he was doing concerts with his paralysis.
Proto Hologram is the name of the company.
Oh, it's a hologram.
Yeah. So let's see if it loads. I'm not on.
So can't they do their? Right now, but. If it's a hologram, I can have them perform anywhere, in my living room.
Exactly, that's what it's for.
Okay.
But you know why Howie Mandel did it? So that's what it looks like. So that person's not there. There's a camera at their house or something.
Oh, interesting.
And then you can do meet and greets that way. So
not too creepy, huh?
It's not creepy, but you know why Howie did it? I always find this funny. The reason Howie invested is because he's a super hypochondriac. So he didn't want to do meet and greets anymore because it was too. He was like, I don't like people touching me. I don't like shaking hands.
Okay.
Because he's always afraid of getting sick.
Yeah.
And then. That's why he wanted to invest in it. He thought it was a great idea. Okay. So that's what Uncle just invested.
That's okay. I don't want to touch Howie Mandel's hand anyhow.
I like Howie.
Yeah, I suppose he's okay.
Yeah. So that we'll see where that one goes. But I think that I think that that's kind of the way we're going. Like that to me is where it actually has a use case. But to your point, like these virtual real estates. They're nothing.
Forget
They're
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes more sense to me, the box thing.
Yeah.
But
It has a use case in the real world. The other ones don't.
I never have to visit Grandma again. She could just hologram herself to our
Exactly.
house.
How you doing?
She can't even figure out her iPhone.
Yeah. Stand on the pad so we can see you.
Who's talking to me?
Why do you look clueless in the virtual world?
I'm not getting in that box, Irene. I'm not getting. Is he gonna send me somewhere?
So the box is just the projector, but yeah.
And when I say my mother, I'm speaking for an entire generation. I'm just
yeah.
using her as an example. We talk about the cars. I don't know how the older people. I have trouble sometimes working all the gadgets in the cars nowadays.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we go from so in the Camry, I'm always like, oh, I love these advancements, but then I feel like my eyes are off the road more than I'm like trying to get like the heat going in the car, and I'm like, which freaking buttons do I press?
Okay, so project yourself out 40 years from now,
Yeah.
50 years. You think it's going to get easier?
I like
don't
to think if
so.
I can build computers, it's gonna be easier, but then I remember that's not how it works. Like,
Not how it works. Well, that's why a lot of them don't even use half the features
yeah,
in their
most of
cars
them.
because they just, where's the key go?
Have you seen the inside of the Hummers, the new EV
No.
Hummers? It's like it's a cockpit. There, like the
Oh,
whole
come
front is
on.
buttons, and then it goes off to the side.
Oh,
I'm
come
like,
on.
it's all flick. You flick switches. It's not a button thing. It's like, oh my god.
I don't think some of them do anything. It's just for the
I
fun
know.
of you think
You
you're
like to
doing
think
something.
they're in like a Star Trek.
Maverick in the F-18.
Yeah.
Then again, it's the Hummer.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 on that same topic. Dumb phones are gaining in popularity. The old flip phones, things without a screen. Gen Zers, apparently, they're getting fed up with the screens. They want less phone time.
Gen Z is which?
Good question. I think that's younger than me. I think that's, well, let's look it up. Gen Z. Generation Z.
What do you mean flip phones? Flip phones suck.
The Nokias.
The Nokia flip phone.
Yeah,
phones?
the Nokias from the early 2000s.
Those suck.
Their concern is because of the Gen Z, the Zoomers, they are succeeding millennials and preceding Generation Alphas. Mid to late 1990s as a starting birth year and the early 2010s.
So a little older than me.
That's you. No, 90s to the 2010s.
Oh, I'm a Gen
You're
Z.
a Gen Z. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yep.
my generation, hear me out. Don't do it. The flip phone sucked.
The
Remember
mid to late
texting?
90s.
Remember texting on the number pad where you have to press?
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's the point. They're concerned about the health concerns, the health risks with being on the phones too much. And here's the irony. YouTube influencers are pushing punked, P-U-N-K-T, and light devices, which are geared to less time on phones and social media.
I don't know what that is, but like, if you can't control it yourself and you need an app to do it, I guess there is an issue there.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had that problem. I know
These
some
phones,
people
remember
do.
them?
The Nokias?
Yeah. the
No,
Nokias.
yeah, there's no way. I refuse to believe that people want to go to that. I feel like they do it to be cool.
They're telling you
Or
that they're
because they have nothing better to talk about.
in the U.S. Feature flip phone sales were up in 2022, with tens of thousands sold each month. Almost 80%.
Or are they burner phones?
Well, interesting. In 2022, almost 80% of feature phone sales in 22 came from the Middle East, Africa, and India, according to Counterpoint Research. But some see that number shifting as a contingency of young people in the U.S. revert back to dumb and minimalist phones. They don't want all the gadgets anymore.
Minimalist phones, I guess, kind of make sense, but I don't think you need a Nokia phone. That causes more problems than... Well, it causes more problems because there's going to be times where you need the internet on the go, and your Nokia is not going to do it.
I guess not. I mean,
Yeah.
you get data, probably, so you can text, but...
That's different, but like if you have to look something up, my generation can't do maps. Are you crazy?
No, here's the thing. I don't think... Well, you're right, when you're traveling with a phone, but I'm guessing these people have other apparatuses, like an iPad or
Right.
what do you call it, Chromebook, but they don't want to be tied to it constantly.
That's fine. I get it. I'm kind of just busting balls, but I get it. I understand why you would do it. I feel like I have the discipline to not have to. Well, yeah, I feel like I have the discipline to not sit on social media all day.
Well, we can sit at a meal as a family and nobody uses their phones.
Yeah.
People have it; they can't do it in their phone, and it's not just the
I
kids.
don't know how they do that.
It's not just the kids.
Yeah. Most of the time, I'm trying to get away from my phone.
Well, but when you're working in
Yeah.
a full-time job, you've got 20 people sending you emails, contacting
Yeah.
you. Your phone is constantly chiming, whatever. Constantly getting messages.
Right.
Where they say you just got to shut it down sometimes because it's just you could always be looking at something going on. It's not about discipline, other than to say, well, the discipline is I got to shut it off to eat dinner with my family. I'll go do it when I'm done and plow through
Right.
all the messages.
But I don't know if I've ever met someone who like truly couldn't get off social media. Like it's not that they're on there because they're bored and they have no hobbies. So when they're off work, that's all they do. See what I'm saying? So all they have is social media, right?
I don't know. I mean, I got to tell you, I see kids when I'm just going to the store and they're checking their phone as they're checking me out at the cash register.
Really?
Yeah, they have their phones there now, and as they're waiting for me to pay, they look at the phone.
No, but that's. I wonder if that's an outcome of being in a job that you don't actually like. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing that out of boredom, not because they're addicted to their phone.
You're
right?
checking me out. It's not like
I'm
I'm done and I walk away and they check their phone.
It's definitely weird, no question about that. But I don't know if that's just the being bored at a cash register and you're the thousandth customer. And
Well,
in the middle
let's
of
be honest. You have a personal weakness if you're that tied to social media.
Agreed.
In any way, if you're somebody that the phone chimes and you have to see who it is, you got a message or something, or you have to see an update on.
I will say I am
website.
like when I get that
Crazy.
when I see a message. And that might just be my ADHD, but like when I hear that ding, I just go like I know who it is. I don't answer right away.
Right,
but
it's an automatic look.
Yeah, but like I just need to know what it is. Like, what if it's important?
Well, I know.
Given my job is on the internet, but.
Being important is one thing, but some people it's a social. Like I have friends, I have adults who they will answer every phone ring, they will look at every text message, they will stop talking to you if somebody else calls in. Very annoying.
Yeah, no,
because they think they're missing something. That's what I'm saying. They have like a weakness. They're missing something.
Yeah.
Something better.
There's definitely people out there that can't control it. I just don't know if it's. I always wonder what's the difference between being addicted to something and just being bored and not having anything else to do.
Well, we were commenting at Universal, right? You weren't there. When you guys were little, I don't know if you remember, we would be winding in those lines for hours and hours, and it was constantly get off the railing, because kids were bored. We started playing games on the line. We brought the Uno cards because one of the rides was 40-minute long line. This time, I noticed as we were walking, there wasn't any of that because all the kids had phones. So while you were waiting on the line,
but again, that's boredom.
Oh no, right? I'm just commenting that the phones were. I didn't mind it because it was much quieter. There wasn't any fighting, arguing, crying kids, or very little of it.
Stop hitting Kenny.
Right, because I'm noticing with other kids too that, and also as a side, I saw more older kids. I didn't see as many little kids there as I used to. That's a different story. And having said that, the kids are
not Disney.
But you still used to see more little kids even at Universal, even families bringing small. When I say little kids, not all babies, but there weren't a lot of young kids.
Right. Well, I'm thinking, Michael's still going. Michael's 20 almost, so.
Yeah, but even he said, I'm done with roller coasters. This was it for me.
Really?
Yeah, that was his. And there was a good one there. That new one is a good one. But I'm just saying in general, it was
That's because
interesting.
he hasn't been to Disney.
Because the adults and the kids had something to entertain them. And we weren't even on the lines that long. So, and I'm saying it as a good thing because, it's kind of boring to stand on a line in a cave waiting to get on a ride. It does fill in some time. We used to take handheld games. Oh, your Game Boys and stuff. We used to use those. You guys would use them when we're on the line. Then you got to do something with them before you get on the damn ride.
Wow.
Right?
Now, given the difference is, and for those of us who haven't been to amusement parks, some of those lines are like an hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get to that.
Yes.
This was back when Fast Pass wasn't a thing.
But that's something else with the phones. I think Disney more than this place. They'll send you a message when the line is open.
That's what I like. And then everyone rushes over. Yeah, there we
go.
go.
You set up, it's a different type of queuing rather than the old days where you'd get a ticket and you'd go back. Now it's you plug it into the phone.
All I'm hearing is we got to go to Disney. That's all I'm getting out of this.
I'm not going to Disney,
Mom,
Chris. I'm not going to Disney.
Michael. Fine, I'll go with the Gretas. I don't care.
Go with the Gretas.
Go with the Gretas.
Next time
Mike
they go. Put your call out. They'll take you.
All right. Do you want to go over the TikTok ban?
I don't care. I mean, I know that somebody just told me Lindsey Graham, who's a senator from South Carolina, was just schooled on it on one of the evening shows because he had no idea what all the other stuff was in this TikTok ban.
Yeah. So this is what I really want to talk about. So everyone's talking about this TikTok ban. The CEO is on trial. But this is the gross part about politics. And there's a word for this that you told me.
Clean bill. A clean bill?
Maybe. But it's basically when they make a bill and they focus on one thing, but that's because they focus so hard on that they don't read the rest of the bill. I forget what it's called. It's the reason why nothing ever gets passed, and this is why the TikTok ban's not going to happen.
Well, so every now and then you have our government officials say, I'm fighting for clean bills. A clean bill is literally we're voting on one issue. Should we do this or should we not?
Right.
Instead, they take something like TikTok and they put it into a parental rights bill, and all of a sudden it becomes this grotesque, all these other stipulations that have nothing to do with TikTok. And when you read between the lines, a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, the government should not be involved.
Right.
And it sounds great in this day and age to say, well, we're going to put in parental rights. Once you start legislating that, then it goes the other way. And somebody else comes into office and they decide, we're going to use that bill to change what those rights are.
Yeah. So I'll say this. If it was a clean bill and we were just talking TikTok, I think that there was a good chance that TikTok was going to be banned. But when you read into the rest of this bill, and this is where it gets gross, this has virtually nothing to do with TikTok, right? What they're trying to do, and again, it was kind of an emergency podcast, so I didn't get to write down or take any notes, but that whole bill is just a list of basically anything foreign. Any foreign apps are not allowed. So no more VPNs. The government's allowed to monitor you for over VPNs. 20 years in jail if you break certain rules and regulations within this bill. It has nothing to do with TikTok.
Right.
It is the TikTok case, I guess you could say, has been a front so that they can pass this bill. And now the scary part is we're seeing all these senators that are like, oh, wait, there was more to this bill? No, I'll give them this. I know it's their job, and we say that. When they do these bills, they're hundreds of pages long.
Thousands.
And then sometimes thousands, and then go, hey, the trial's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? They hand them this.
The vote.
The voting's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not going to get through 1,000 pages in a night. And that's not even an exaggeration. They do that all the time.
Yes.
You're not going to get through it in 3 days on top of all your other duties as a senator.
Right.
So that's why they're told, oh, it's about TikTok. We're going to go on that. And then all of a sudden, now it's all coming out. This bill is way, way longer. That's why whenever they go to trial with this shit, nothing ever gets passed.
Not trial, when they bring it on the floor to vote on it.
It's a hearing.
The vote's on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're taking advantage of the parental issues right now because a lot of parents are looking at their parental rights are being infringed upon. So they wrap this in a TikTok because they're like, oh, well, nobody likes TikTok. We all want TikTok banned, right? So they wrap it in that and they call it that and they mislead. It's one thing to mislead the American people about it, but shame on our senators. They have a team of people that work on it. Now, I do agree, and there was legislation put forth after the horrible bill that was passed in the dead of night last session. I forget what that was, monstrosity. Was that like a budget bill? The new Congress came in and said, we're putting limits on that. You must give people time to vote. Read it and vote on something. You can't just ram through a 4,000-page in the middle of the night and say, hey, we got to vote tomorrow.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, they try to do it.
Yeah.
They try to do it every time. Because obviously they don't want you reading what's in it. They force you to vote. That's why they're pushing for clean bills. Don't put all the other stuff in there. What are we voting on, yes or no?
Right, and the argument is, well, we can't, if we do clean bills all the time, it takes up too much time. Yeah. That's like their argument. And I think they are right. There is something to that. But I mean, it's just the way we're doing it now is just a horrible way of doing it. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's purposely done to conflagrate. What's the word? I gotta think of the word. Mixing it all together and hiding what's in there. This is the game that's always played. Then they pass it, and then they tell the American people on some websites what was, or some sites what are actually in it, and then the American people are outraged, but it's done, right?
Right. Yeah. No. It's just wild how we're at the point where now our senators are like not even sure. The people voting on it are not even sure what's in it.
Right.
Given it's always probably been that way, but it's just like usually the stuff in the past, well, I shouldn't say decade, but like usually everything's kind of within the same topic. Like it's all stuff on TikTok. Now it's like, hey, let's do kind of started with the Ukraine war, honestly. Well, actually, it started with COVID relief was when people really started noticing, like, hey, we have this idea for a bill. We want to help all these people. And then on page 50, it's, oh, by the way, the government gets $50 million of that relief.
No, right? It's actually been going on a lot longer. But what they do, right, they call it like the pork. So all these budget things have been voted on for decades, right? Lately, and I want to say within my lifetime, all of a sudden now you have people come out and saying, do you see the pork in it? And pork is usually the excess, the junk, the stuff that they throw in there so they can give their cronies something. So what happens is,
the cronies,
if you want somebody to vote on something, pick a name, a senator from Pennsylvania, for instance, okay? And you know he's not going to vote on it. You say, listen, I'll throw in some extra money for coal miners. Well, that's a big business in Pennsylvania. That helps him. He's like, all right, if you put a certain amount in there, I'll vote on it. So they wind up throwing all these pork things in there to get people that refuse to vote for it to bring them on their side. And when you're all said and done, you got all this garbage thrown in there that has nothing to do with the original bill just to get the damn thing passed. Then they tell the American people, well, the people in Pennsylvania are happy because they got their coal. And the people in the other states are happy because they got whatever perk their senator or representative got. But in general, was it best for the American people as a whole? No. Because we're all paying for it for all these states. So, you know.
Yeah, so I don't think TikTok's going to end up being banned, which, again, I'm not, I don't want to say I'm not against it being banned. I don't like the idea of China having any data on us. Now that we're seeing that there's certain backdoors to TikTok and that it is owned by China, yeah, that's not great, but I don't know if that's much worse than what else is in that bill. 20 years in prison for having a VPN, like, that's ridiculous.
Well, you and I are on different pages about this. I see a bigger picture going on here, and when you put the pieces together, conspiracy theory coming up, when you put the pieces together, I don't like TikTok having that much data about American citizens.
I do agree.
They have said that they're going to do it for nefarious reasons. They're not just doing it to make money. There's something else going on here, and I don't trust it. And I don't think, I do think it might get banned, because if this parental rights thing is not passed, it'll be dropped, and somebody will come back to, usually it's two people, senator or sometimes a representative, will represent something as a cleaner bill, and that's what a clean bill is, where it's less other stuff in it, and you're voting straight down the line as to what it is. You might see it come back again, especially if things start percolating up regarding communist China influence in our country. It's getting bad. It's getting serious. People have to open their eyes up to it.
Agreed. I just don't know if, I think worst, if they don't ban TikTok, there's going to be some serious regulations behind it. I think that's going to end up, like, TikTok's definitely going to change somehow. I don't think it's going to be banned, right? So they're going to make changes to the app, because
all of India has banned TikTok.
All of India, and
it's a large group of people. Now, they're not all in social media. It's a poor nation, but for an entire nation to start saying, you know, they're not buddy with the Communist Party, the Indian nation,
CCP,
the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party, I should say. They've had some conflicts on their borders with them. So for them to say, this is not good, we do not want the enemies mining our data, right? So they recognize China for what it is. We do too, but we do it tepidly. Oh, yeah, communist China's bad, but we'll take your money in our universities. We'll take your money in our government.
We'll give you our power grid.
We'll give you our power grid. You can buy our farmland. And now you have some...
in our banks.
Right. Now you have some senators turning around and saying, you know what, we're passing a clean bill. No more foreign buying of our farmland.
Which is agreed. Like, I'm not against that. I do think... TikTok's weird, though, because it's owned by China in the sense of their investors are Chinese. But the CEO doesn't have any ties to China that we know of. Like, we still don't have any proof of that. So he's from Singapore.
It doesn't matter. He's just a puppet for them. They're owning that company.
Right, but that's what I mean, though. They own companies here, but they don't have a say in the company.
You sure about that? I think they do. I think we're starting to realize that more and more of them have far more influence than we even realize. I mean, look at the presidency. You know, there's actual evidence, facts coming out that they have influence in the White House. That's called treason. Call it what you want to, but that's a big issue that needs to be cleaned up. So something like a TikTok ban to me is a no-brainer.
Right. So you think, just to wrap this one up, you think are you yes for do you think it's going to be banned or no?
I don't think the Parental Rights Act, well, I'm hoping it's not going to pass. It sounds great. Oh, who wouldn't want parental rights? But that's where you have to be careful, and they have to do the research, and they have to get out and say, I'm not voting for this because I'll tell you, at the beginning of the week when I saw Parental Rights Act, I didn't know it was the TikTok one. And I saw some Republicans refusing to vote for it. And then I saw who some of them were. I'm like, that's a little bit odd. That's when I started to look into it. It's not Parental Rights Act. It's to take parental rights away.
Right.
If somebody so chooses in the government, and I am in agreement. I don't want the government involved.
So I do not think that this will get passed. To your point, I think there's going to be a clean bill later, like next year probably. That's really going to take a look at TikTok and really start like really dive bombing into it.
I think it's going to become a bigger issue down the road as China advances militarily around the world, which we know they're going to do. And I think that's going to influence a lot of things.
I think that China's going to end up taking Taiwan in the next year.
Yes,
I think that's just
the guess is by the summer. So now you're in a shit show globally. It's like everything's lined up in not a good way. And it doesn't help that the United States is not in a position to exert any influence.
Yeah, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
All right, you got another one?
No, that was all my articles.
Okay, I got one more to talk about, and that's the next streaming platform. A bunch of people have been asking me about Kake. Kake is like the new Twitch, trying to be the next YouTube. It's already fallen flat, and here's what. Kake, K-I-C-K. Now, here's the problem, right? So all the big streamers that were basically, how do I put this? Not canceled, but Twitch, well, yes, they're canceled by Twitch. Like Aiden Ross was someone who was really close to Andrew Tate. So he honestly, you can make the argument that his fame comes from that. Andrew Tate's been gone for a while now because of the prison stuff or whatever's going on over there in Hungary. We still Hungary, right? Is that where he's from? I forget.
It was Romania.
Romania. That's right. From Romania. So Aiden's kind of fallen flat a little bit. He's had some terrible takes on stuff. So he moves over to this website, Kake, and Kake was like, hey, we'll pay you to be here. Now, here's the problem as why Kake's not going to take off. This kid, I don't know how old Aiden is. He's definitely younger than me, but he's showing porn because it's like the Wild West, right? There's no rules yet for it because it's too new. Because of that, there's going to be no monetization for something like Kake, right? When you're the biggest creator on there by far, because right, you're taking your people from Twitch who like you, and then you're basically destroying the monetization factor by having this number one streamer essentially destroy the actual monetization market by doing this because they can't monetize on that. It's the same thing that happened to, do you know what the YouTube adpocalypse is on YouTube, Mother?
No.
Okay, let's see. Back in 2018, I would say, PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber, dropped an N-bomb on a live stream. Now, he's Swedish, right? But drops the N-bomb. Now, I like how you wrote down N-bomb.
Yeah, N-bomb. PewDiePie.
So because of that, what ended up happening was that kind of changed YouTube's monetization forever because that's when all these companies started realizing, all the big companies that give money to YouTube to advertise, like Pepsi, AT&T, they said, oh, hey, well, we don't know where our advertisements are going. You're just kind of throwing them anywhere. And I don't want to be associated with a guy dropping an M-bomb. Like, why is my Pepsi advertisement on there when this guy just dropped that? Then they found that there was some, like Nazi videos that were getting monetized by Coke. And so that really hurt YouTube. That if there was, like, a history thing, like a timeline of YouTube history, that's a main bullet point when that happened.
Yeah, okay, but they had no problem doing it for BLM when they were trashing our cities and burning things down.
There was no well, what do you mean? Like,
Coca-Cola was dumping money into BLM, sponsoring them. Remember, everybody had the black social media.
Yeah. But I'm talking about through YouTube. So at that point, that's their own thing.
I don't know
through
if it's through YouTube, but
probably not through YouTube. But because there was the monetization on YouTube now within the last 3 years has kind of been just shit. Like no one was really making money. So David Dobrik, who's you probably know who he is.
I know
He's huge. There was a point where he went from making, before the apocalypse, he was making hundreds of $1,000s a month down to $2,000 a month, which was, I mean, that's how bad it got, right? And he was not.
So all these people were pulling their advertising dollars from YouTube in general.
Movie. This
I
chair
know. I
sucks.
told you that. Yeah. Now you get what I'm.
This chair's awful.
Mom, stop touching the mic. Mom, stop knocking the mic.
Oh, God. Okay,
So they were pulling their ad dollars, and that's why they were losing money from
well, yeah, because
their
YouTube
platform.
didn't have any advertisements
Gotcha.
to pay YouTubers. Now, I'm under the mindset of like the fact that we're able to make a single dollar doing this is like a blessing.
Yeah.
But to go from $100,000 to $2,000 a month without really any warning is kind of insane. Like that doesn't make sense. So I don't know what YouTube should have done. I think they were caught with their pants down and they couldn't do anything. And
So
just
they
had to...
can't allocate the advertising to anybody but Cutie Pie?
No. PewDiePie. It's PewDiePie.
Oh, sorry,
Gotta know that
PewDiePie.
one.
So they can't say, all right, we won't put you on PewDiePie, but we'll put you on somebody else.
Right. So before then, the algorithm just threw advertisements on anything that was monetizable. So as long as you check the box for, like physically, I checked the box for our monetization.
Gotcha.
So that was before it was just either you could monetize or you can't. Now we have all these different rules where like now I barely ever get fully monetized. It's always partial.
Right.
Just based on what we talk about the streams and stuff. Like I don't even monetize the streams because I already know they're not gonna get revenue. So that and you don't want advertisements on a stream. That's annoying.
Right. Okay. So they can't do. Okay. So now they're able to set it up so that Coca-Cola only goes to these groups.
Yeah.
Anybody
they
that they
basically
don't
just
want.
made an algorithm that was like, hey, well, you can monetize, but we're going to check it. We're going to make sure that it goes to the right spot. And then there was a good point where and there's nothing wrong with that. From a business perspective, that's fine. But when you've been monetizing the people who, like David Dobrik's a great example. He wasn't doing anything illegal or anything, but he was swearing in his videos. He was partying with friends, getting millions upon millions of views. Right. Making so much money for YouTube, and then all of a sudden, he was literally like the poster child of YouTube for a little bit after Logan Paul's suicide forest issue, which I don't think you know about, but we'll get into.
That's a while ago. They
so
to
dip like that and not really have a reason, or tell anyone the reason except for that PewDiePie incident.
Right.
That's not gonna go over well with YouTube.
No,
right?
not if they make their living that way.
Exactly. So I luckily for someone like David, most of his money comes from sponsorships, not from YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's still like hey, you got to give us some warning so we can figure our stuff out.
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't
just
do
pull
that.
it like that.
As you know, YouTube's terrible at telling people like. Hey,
but it's hard to give them warning because you don't know when somebody's going to drop an N-bomb.
That's why I don't. That's why I don't fault YouTube for the monetization issues. Like this was inevitable.
Yeah.
I knew 2 years ago it was getting too crazy to just monetize everything. Right.
Right.
I think they've gotten a lot better at deciding what's monetizable and what's not.
Yeah.
But when it slips up, it's a real pain in the ass because then you have to do a manual review. It probably takes a couple days.
Right. You can't do that instantaneously.
And most of these guys, when they see a podcast that's an hour and a half long and they got other stuff to do, they're not watching the hour and a half. They're just going to say, nope, not monetized, no questions.
Right.
I don't blame them. I said that when we got our check mark, our ban, our 1 week ban, child strike. There we go. So I don't fault those people, but you need an algorithm that's going to be better at this stuff. Yeah. Like most of the games I play can't even be monetized. Even if I don't swear or not, they can't even be monetized fully. We make some money off of it, but most of the time, no.
Well, it's got to be too hard to do because you have such volume of people and how do you know?
There are 300,000 videos uploaded to YouTube every minute.
Right, and it's hard to say, because Coca-Cola wants to be on some of those. So it's not even like they can say, don't put me on any gamer ones, don't put me on any blah, blah, blah. That's not really fair because that's a good advertising spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Again, I don't fault YouTube, but we kind of went off track. It's kind of the same reason as to why Kake's not going to take off. Aiden Ross, the number one on Kake, because they asked him, he already kind of screwed it because now they can't get the monetization. Right. So it's not going to be able to grow. And the monetization that they do get are like dildo companies.
Right. Well, unless he reins it in, though, right? If he reins his...
The question is, has the damage already been done, right? Like, Kake's not really growing at an exponential rate. It's growing, but that's just because people are getting tired of Twitch. YouTube Live, whatever. It's a great place for probably people to start
Right.
and grow an audience and then bring it over somewhere else when
To a
something
bigger
better is there.
platform.
But it's like, do I want to allocate all my resources to Kick? Luckily, I use Restream, so I can't do that, even though I can't get it to work. Their streaming platform they still have some bugs they have to fix in that regard, because
Right.
the fact that I can't use Restream through Kick is really annoying.
Yeah.
So I made the account, but I can't stream to it. I physically can't.
That's strange.
So I'd have to do it directly, and that means I can't stream to YouTube, Twitch, all my other ones.
Right. So if you're having that issues, others are having that
Oh,
issues.
I'm sure, yeah.
So how do you build a platform if people can't use YouTube?
I can't justify moving to Kick and getting rid of everything else. So I just can't. It might just be a dead account, honestly, until they figure that out. But yeah, so I am curious to see where Kick goes.
Right.
But I don't. It doesn't have a bright future, in my opinion. It's not looking too good.
It's in the metaverse.
All right.
Right along there.
So we actually did less than an hour. Again, this is kind of an impromptu stream, or podcast. So I'm not upset about cutting it short, just because it's a Thursday. I still have to edit stuff. So yeah, we'll end this one here. That's
Okay.
episode 39. We're one off from 40.
Yep.
So I don't know what we'll do for the 40th. I feel like every 10 weeks we should do something special. Like maybe we'll get those Girl Scout cookies.
No, Chris.
All right, we'll end it there. The only things I have to promote, so obviously the podcast with my grandmother. There was nothing on Wednesday because I was busy
G-Ma.
Wednesday. G-Ma. I put it down as featuring the original G Unit.
G Unit is in the house.
Original G Unit.
Ay, ay,
Other
ay.
than that, tomorrow if I can get it out. So Friday would have been 9 Years of Shadows. So that would be tomorrow's video. So Friday, and then I think the Incredibles PR comes out Sunday, so that would have been yesterday. And then this comes out Monday and Tuesday. And I'll see you guys at stream on Monday. Social media down below, promo codes down below, stream links down below, Discord down below for more questions and hot takes. We want to start bumping those
No
up a little
rush.
more.
Slow down. You got to fill time.
Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah. Sorry. So, so we need more questions and hot takes just because, not even because we need them as much, but because we need, how do I put this? It's tough to find hot takes that we haven't already seen
Yeah.
and ones that are legitimate.
Yeah.
So that's why we need your questions to help us out. So that's why we need more of those, and that way we can fill up more time.
We like to interact with our audience.
Exactly. I tried to. Well, that's what the streams are for, but
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
I'm not on the streams.
Yeah, we'll end it there. Maybe we should do a live podcast at some point, but I don't know. Either way, we'll end it there. As I said, social media down below, promo codes down below, stream links down below, and then Discord down below. So,
Right.
other than
Listen,
that,
have a nice Easter, right?
Yes.
We may not. Well, this comes out next
this
week.
comes out Monday.
Yeah, so it won't come out till the following. So
And Easter would have happened.
for
yeah,
our Christian
'cause it comes out Monday.
our Christian listeners, have a nice Easter.
And anyone else that celebrates Easter.
Our Islamic
I don't know.
listeners.
Wait, Ramadan's right now.
I know. I don't know if you say good luck in Ramadan. I hope you're having a blessed Ramadan, I guess would be the term.
How dare you say blessed?
I don't know.
Sorry. I don't know what it is.
Productive? Fruitful? I don't know.
I don't know. But either way, we'll end it there. 39 down. Next one's 40. We'll do something for 40.
Okay.
We should. Especially since it's Easter.
It's Easter. Well, it's
All right.
post-Easter, but
Yeah.